it's Shaylin Marie, and I am here with a speed build. This is Rose Hill. It ends up being on a 20 by 15 lot. It is a 2-bed, 1-bath, but unfortunately not really a starter home since it comes in at 55,787 simoleons. A little pricey. There is definitely liberal use of the bb.move objects cheat, which allowed me to place those garage doors right next to each other rather than trying to adhere them to particular grid sizes. This layout does change a few times. I really had a hard time deciding exactly where I wanted to place certain things. I had a pretty clear idea of what I wanted on that sort of renovated garage space, which is going to end up being sort of what that is. And sort of what I wanted then on that first floor, but it took me a little bit to decide. So I basically here just continue playing with the floor plan, trying to figure out exactly where I'm going to place bedrooms, bathrooms, the kitchen, etc. I think at this point I had realized that the staircase that I had envisioned was not actually going to work, so I ended up moving it in order to put these rooms behind the staircase rather than in front of it. I do put in a very small bathroom. So like I said, this is a really small house, not necessarily a starter home, but it was not meant to be a big space. It is a pretty modern look, but I do add some sort of Spanish style influences and elements later on when it comes to designing. I don't use these closets very often. I don't know why. I guess I just get really attached to the dressers, and I find that the dressers match my aesthetic a little bit more clearly, but I ended up using a closet in this because I'm making a more concentrated effort to do that. At this point, I started hitting up against that error that we often see in The Sims, where the ceilings won't close, and so I basically just started rebuilding the roof, trying to figure out what was going on. I did add laundry elements into this build. I know that not everyone likes to play with the laundry elements, but because I wanted a laundry space at the very base of the stairs in this renovated garage, I made sure to put the rest of the elements and all those coordinating features into the rest of the game. In real life, I do not like this stackable washer, dryer, the front loading stuff. I just don't enjoy it. But in the game, I think it's really cool. And then I'm adding these little cabinet features up on top of the washer to try to give it a more realistic feel. Because I think that this makes it look like an actual laundry space. If there are not only these little design elements like the laundry soap and the mop and bucket and the hangers, but having those cabinets there for storage purposes. Right here I'm just raising this bucket up and down and using the bb.move objects sheet to place these decorations and decorative elements where I want them. I really wanted to make this space look like it is used quite regularly by the people that live here. So I tried to add in as many of these features and these elements as I could because I figured that although they have the washer and dryer, I wanted to give them space to hang dry their clothes. They may not want to necessarily go up and down the stairs all the time, so I put some chairs there. I think later on in the build, I ended up putting a clothesline out back, just moving this broom now. So this sort of ends up turning into a space that houses not only the laundry and other cleaning supplies, but it ends up housing a bunch of little sort of knickknacks and storage things. I end up using those little Kleenex boxes everywhere. It might be because I have year-round allergies, and so I think my Sims do too. I don't know. I just end up using those little Kleenex boxes almost any time that I place a shelf somewhere. I wanted to make sure that we had some skill building elements in this build as well, and trying to use skill building elements that I don't necessarily use all the time. I know that I have a tendency to have my Sims gravitate more towards the musical instruments and the easel for painting, and so for this I really wanted to make sure that we had some more outdoorsy sorts of elements and skill building features, so I ended up using that flower arranging board and the woodworking area for them. This could obviously, if you wanted to download this from the gallery, you could rebuild this to be almost anything that you want, and have it even be an extra bedroom if you saw fit. But for me, I really had focused on this. This was the area, I guess, of the build that I saw most clearly when I was starting to piece it all together. I also wanted to make sure here that we had some storage and, spaces that it would look like people would keep things, and I wanted it to look like an actual garage area, a place where people actually do come into their home and have things. So I have some storage boxes, which may have some old documentation, some old, tax files or something, although this is not a very secure location to keep those kinds of things. Just trying to pile some boxes there to make it look like, perhaps they had moved in recently and had not yet unpacked everything. The lockers, because I could see them maybe locating those or thrifting those and thinking that they would be a good element. Some other things that kind of look like items that might be found in a garage. And I had stuck the paintings in there because I saw this as a home where really sorts of artsy people would live, and perhaps these were paintings that they had collected and not yet hung in the above stairs area. Just trying to find things. I love that garden hose. I often forget to use it, and then I'm really bummed and I add them later. But I think that little hose is just so cute. I also really enjoy sizing up the cars, the toy cars. I know that you can go into Live Edit Objects and use that sheet and find other vehicles, but I find oftentimes that just sizing up the toy cars works for me, and I just love the look of it. I'm probably with those people who hate the fact that we don't have cars in The Sims yet. We got bicycles with Discover University, so I'm pretty jazzed about that. But I really like putting cars in the game and making it look as if the Sims are actually going to get in those and, go to work or go out with their friends or something. These pieces of the build are definitely taken from a home that I ended up Googling. I just sort of Googled modern home and found something that appealed to me and then sort of attempted to recreate it in The Sims. I know that many people build this way. I don't often. I like to try to just build what I want. But in this case, I had found something really interesting, and I thought it would be kind of interesting to try and recreate it. I'm using the counters from Parenthood. I love these countertops. They make me so happy. I don't love the cabinetry that goes above those countertops, but because it's such a small home, it's obvious that there would need to be some kind of storage in order for these people to really utilize the kitchen in a way that I suppose that humans would utilize the kitchen. And so I added the cabinetry even though I wasn't in love with it. Just adding some knickknacks here, trying to make it look as if it is a kitchen that really maximizes space. I think that IKEA kitchens, oftentimes for me, are inspiration for these kinds of things because they do such a good job of really focusing on making sure that people have access to things that are useful and making the most of the space that they have, regardless of how much of it there is. Sims only use those front, like one of the front burners. I think it's either the front left or front right, or maybe it's both. I don't know. But I don't think they really use the front burners. And so I kind of think it's fun sometimes to place those pots up on the stovetop by raising them up. It is so difficult to find things that fit on these shelves. It is maddening. I get so angry when I'm trying to place little knickknacks and decorations, trying to find things that will fit on those narrow little shelves, because I think that those shelves are really realistic. I know that I have placed them in homes that I have owned, homes that I've rented, because it is a really nice way to make sure that you can get all of your things into what is often a very small space. Unless you are blessed enough to have a large kitchen, in which case I am very jealous of you. One thing too, with the knickknacks, I do place a lot of things on top of the fridge. I, in real life, don't put anything on top of the fridge because I'm really short and can't reach up there. But I think it's really cute to place those cookbooks up there. I also wanted to do a really fun... I'm sorry, you can totally hear my dogs wrestling around. Sorry about that. So I think it's really fun to try and fill the walls with these little storage things, the storage cubbies. I wanted to do a really fun color scheme because I would imagine that someone who would fall in love with this space would probably be someone who could really see the potential in an area. And so I thought that person would be kind of fun and kind of lighthearted. And so I wanted to choose a color scheme and choose aesthetics that were fun and bright and would really liven up this otherwise very sort of, I don't want to say boring, but just a very clean sort of palette for this because it is all sort of cement and, black windows. I love these paintings. They are my favorite. I don't remember offhand what pack they come from. These ones as well. I just think that some of this artwork that we have gotten in The Sims is so fun, and I like placing it and using the cheats to move the artwork all over and just sort of haphazardly placing things and making it look like this person and these Sims are really into sort of visual elements within their home. I did make a child's bedroom in this space as well. Obviously, if you were to download this from the gallery, you could easily turn this into an office space. You could add another skill building space and maybe eliminate what's on that first floor. But I had this as a child's room. I said this is probably an actual child and a teen. And I put some of these stuffed animals around and toys because there isn't a ton of storage in the bedroom. I thought about placing some shelves, but I have some trouble sometimes trying to get the kids to use those elements if they are on the shelves. So I left them on the floor and just sort of piled them around the bed. The bathroom is a tight squeeze. It's definitely a small apartment style bathroom. But I was still able to get some, get the necessary elements into the bathroom. Nothing fancy, not a crazy color scheme. You can tell that I kept the majority of the color scheme pretty basic because I really kind of wanted it to have that sort of like warehouse feel with those like interesting sort of elements. I do add some greenery around the property because without it, it is incredibly boring. Just placing some more sort of outdoors elements now. I really love these flowers. I think that they brighten up the outside of the building. I think having some greenery and plant life around makes it a little more homey because it is sort of a cold design. I also really enjoy using these rocks to create a border for a flower bed because I like that you can get sort of an like a less angular sort of flower bed versus having the fence or other options that we have. I continued just sort of looking through the outdoor features in the activities and skills, making sure that there is an area for the kids to play. Oh, there's that laundry. All right, so this is available on the gallery if you are interested in downloading it. My screen name is Shae83, SHAE 83, and this is under Rose Hill. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video.